Okay guys, we're going to start building the inside of this album, this coffee table album. I've picked out my papers for the front cover, and I'm going to back them in the blue Artisan just so that they don't blend into the front cover, just a small little border of blue. And I'm going to lay these aside until I'm ready to do the front, so we want to work on the inside first. So we're going to start with the left inside, and we're going to have an envelope type pocket, and this is going to be your flap, and it is on your cut list. It is flap 7 7/8 by 4. Now I'm going to cut this, but I want to mat the front with white, so I'm going to position it on the back side where I want it to be so that I can cut these together and get them exact. And I'm going to hopefully secure it with a paper clip so it doesn't shift on me while I'm cutting it, because I want to cut it in the paper cutter. So what I have done is I have measured down, let me see, what did I put on the thing? We measured down 1 inch from this score line. Now these are scored at 1/2 3/4. So from your 3/4 you're going to make a tick mark at 1, and then you're going to mark the center and a tick mark over here at 1. Now let me move my paper clip down because it's going to be in the way. Make sure I didn't shift my white paper, because I want to cut it at the same time. No, it moved a little bit. Let me pull it back this way just a hair. Okay, just like that. Now I need to get it close to the bottom. Okay, and we're going to cut from this 1 inch mark down to the center. And I'm going to line that up in my paper cutter. Right there and right there. Now my paper clip might be a little bit in the way. So I got that side cut. Now I'm going to pick it up carefully. Oh, it didn't cut all the way through, darn it. Okay. Let me line it up again then. Just a hair there. Make sure we got through the white. I hope it didn't shift any. No, it still looks good. So I'm going to put this back up here. Now I want to cut this side from the point to the tick mark. Okay, that looks good. Go back through and make sure we got it before I pick it up. Okay, so there's our envelope top. Now, when I take this out, all I need to do is hopefully just trim a little bit off of here. And it should be a perfect match, and then it will be a good mat for my design paper. So I'm just going to trim off a little bit right there. Oh, I took off my... What happened to my corner? Darn it. Look at that. I cut my corner off. How did I do that? That wasn't so smart, was it? Now I gotta cut it again. Let me get another piece of white. Okay, it was 3.5. I think. Let me get the length again. The length was 7 3/4. 7 3/4. Cut it from the wrong piece. And make sure it was even 3.5. You don't want to have to keep cutting them. Yeah, 3.5. I'm going to cut it at 3 3/4. So I don't lose that point again. That may have been my problem. 3 3/4 by 7 3/4. That may have been my problem. My calculations went amiss. Alright. So now all I need to do is match it side for side. Okay. And it's already cut, so I can paper clip it at the top this time. And hopefully that will work. And we will try this again. Okay, now let me line it up again. Make sure my little cutter's in the right place. Turn it around this way. Okay. Oops. That looks all right. Now, let's see how much I need to take off. Just a little bit off of here. And keep it straight. Looks good. See what we got this time. Can still take a little bit more off. Just a skosh. Is that even a word, I wonder? Okay, now we're good. Now we can use this as our guide for our design paper, which I want to use this floral. So I need to cut a piece. I'm just going to use it as a measurement. I like that plaid on the back. Cut a little bit past that point. I don't want to lose it again and waste my paper. Okay. I'm going to cut it off here. Actually, just a little bit short of that, so I'll have a margin. Let's paper clip it again. We're actually going to have to cut another one for the back side too. A lot of angle cuts. Okay, there's that. That's a little bit long. A little bit long. Trim that one up a little bit more. Okay. And take just a hair out of this. Make sure it didn't shift over here. Doesn't look like it did. Okay. Just ever so much. No, it's cutting into my white. You know what, rather than do that, I'm going to trim it with my scissors. Just a tiny bit here. That just felt too thick. It was going to cut into the white, and I don't want to mess with that. Okay. There we go. So now when we take this off and move it up just a hair, see, it makes a perfect mat. Now all we have to do is just trim a little bit off of this straight edge. Once you get your angle, don't ever trim it. Trim your straight edge. That'll be perfect. Okay, so we have the mat for that. Now before we glue this down, I want to use this as a guide, this white one, and I'm going to cut another white one just as a guide, so I have something for the back side, so I can go ahead and glue this down. Didn't get that cut good, but that's okay. This is just a guide. Actually, let me just take my pencil and draw around it. Whoops, not a very straight line. There we go. There's my guide, my template. Okay, we'll save that for the back side. So now we can glue these two down. I think I might have to turn some air conditioning back on. I haven't had any on all day. It's been so cool, but it's starting to get warm in here now. I don't know why. Because it's still cool outside. Let's ink the edge of this one. Whoa, knock everything down. There's black. Yeah, it's turned really cool here today. Fall is in the air for sure. Okay, let's put this one down. Makes it stand out so much better with this white behind it. It's such pretty paper. I'd like to a lot of times lay my bone folder down flat so I don't get a shiny edge from the edge of it. Okay, let me pause this real quick. I'm going to go turn on the air. It's just getting too hot. I'll be right back. Okay, the next piece is 11 by 6 1/4, and it is scored on the when you put it this way with the short side or the long side at the top, you're going to score at a half, 1 and 1 1/2. Rotate it and do the same on the other short end, and then on one long end, 1/2. And then we're going to cut out these little boxes here. I'm just going to angle it just a tiny bit. Out. Now we can score this bottom, burnish it. It's already scored. And then we will fold these under and tack them down. A little more trimming to do right here. Okay. And put a little dot of glue on that. And when you score these sides, make sure that this fold doesn't overhang the front, because you don't want that to show. And we'll do the same thing over here. So if you have to, just push on it and force it into place before you burnish it. Okay. Now we're going to put a notch in this, and I've inked it with black just lightly. So I'm going to paper clip it again. Get my circle punch out. I don't want much of a notch, just a little one. Did I leave it out somewhere? Yes, I did. I'm looking in the wrong place. Okay, so we're going to eyeball it in the middle. And I've got mine marked the depth I like to punch, and this is the center of the circle. So I'm going to try to eyeball it as best I can and get it to that center. Maybe a little bit more this way. That looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to punch it right there. It's got to go through both. Now I'm going to take just a hair off this bottom edge because I want to move it down just a bit. And ink it again. Don't have a lot of working space here. Okay, and then we can put this down on here and we can come back and decorate it later. There we go, that looks pretty good. So let's get some glue on here. This is really, really pretty paper. It's been out a while. I didn't have it the first time. So I'm glad she put it in the box. It's really pretty colors. Okay. That way we have a little bit of the black showing at the notch. Okay. Let me get this out of the way here. This is for the middle section, which I already have cut. I haven't decided which papers I'm going to use yet, though. Okay, this is going to go right above that score line. Going to make a sizable pocket. We can get some good size embellishments in there. Let me miter this edge here just a little bit. Okay. Let's put some glue on here. Now inside the pocket I'm going to leave for a little while. I want to make sure I've got all the design paper I want for the other elements, because I can fill the inside with some solids if I need to, because most of it isn't going to show anyway. Okay, so we're going to set this down right here. Make sure it's straight. Inside both edges. Get some clothespins to hold that for a minute. This down farther to the corner. Okay, I'm going to let that set up for a minute before I put the top piece on. And we will move over to the center for the moment. Okay, we're going to have a pocket on the bottom And it is going to be, let me get that lint dust. Is it falling off the ceiling? I don't know where it's coming from. Anyway, this measures 8 1/8 by, I didn't write it down, 8 1/8 by 5. Have it on my cut list. And it is going to sit in here, and 3 sides are scored at 1/2 and 5/8, just to give it a little depth, not a lot. And we're going to cut an angle, and I'll show you what I did. I'm from the 5/8 score, I measured over 1.5 inches. It went like this, and this piece I cut out. So I measured over 1.5 inches and made a tick mark, and then I came over to 2.5 and made another tick mark. On the 2.5, I cut down, I think, 1 inch. Yes, I cut down 1 inch, and then I cut straight across, taking this piece out, and then I came back and I cut from the tick mark to this mark here and took out this little triangle, and that gives you this shape of a pocket. Okay, so now how much of this do I want to cut out? I'm just going to take out these first 2 for the moment, because I'm not sure. I've not scored a pocket just like this before. I don't want to take out too much and be sorry and then have to redo it. Okay. I don't need this score line, I know for sure. And let me straighten that up. Okay. So let's burnish these, and then I'll know better what I want to do. So on the 1/2 inch, and then again on the 5/8, I just want a little bit of depth in there to add plenty of embellishments, photo mats and stuff. Because when you get to your new house, you want to be sure you get to take a lot of pretty pictures. Okay. Alright, so now I know I don't need this. So we're going to take that out too. Better safe than sorry. So we're going to take all of these little boxes out of here. And I'm going to angle this piece just a little bit. And this one also, just a tiny. Just a little sliver, so I don't have that bump from the score line on there. Okay, now let's burnish these. And 1/2. And the 5/8. It's kind of hard to push it in there. Have to force it sometimes, but it'll go. There we go. The same thing over here. And 5/8. And get it started. getting there, little by little. It's kind of tedious because it's such a small area. I think this is quite on the 5/8. Either that or this one's too much. Yeah, that one's too much down here. Here we go. Better. Okay, so now let's angle these just a tiny so we don't have overhang. We want to push these back into place. Now when we glue this down, we're only going to glue the 1/2 inch. This is going to attach right there. I'm going to fasten it like we did the other part, the other pocket. Just like that. We want to stay together. Okay, now this one. Now come on now, turkey. Hook together. And we're not getting enough glue in there or what? There we go. I guess that was the issue. This doesn't look like a very good burnish. Let me burnish that again. Okay, bring it back in. And attach those two. Wouldn't you know it? Boy, if I dare forget the phone. I'll be right back. Okay guys, we've got this little pocket glued together. Now I cut a piece of white cardstock just as a template so that I can get my cut line here. And I'm just going to draw around it. Haven't decided which paper I want yet, but that will give me, and I had it pushed all the way down to the bottom, so once I get it cut I'll need to trim just a hair off the bottom. But that is going to go right here, and then we're going to have two little pockets right here, and these are the ones that are there are two of them, and they're 4 by 3.5, and they're scored on 3 sides, and these are going to sit on top of this pocket for little tags. But we'll get to that in a minute. I haven't got any papers cut, so I wanted to show you this so that you know where it goes, and you can see that it's got that little small gusset on the bottom, and that's going to sit in there. Now I have to decide which design papers I want to use here, and then I'll be back with you and we'll do some more and we'll finish up this side here. Okay guys, I cut this using that little template that I showed you, and I've just put a 6x6 pad under here just for stability, and I'm going to glue this down. I did ink it lightly with black just to take the white edge off. Not getting much glue out there. There we go. Just so that I'm able to give a little more pressure when I place it down. Just like that. And then I can burnish it. without mashing it down. And I'll scoot it over to this side and burnish over here. Now we've got our two little pockets. And the first one, we're going to miter the corners and then the edge, just like we always do. And I'm going to burnish these just on the first one. Don't do the second one yet. I need to take a little bit more off of this. I can see a little pucker there. And here as well. Okay. And I've inked these as well, and I'm using the brown on here, and I'm going to glue this down. Actually, let me get my, what did I do with my little mini punch board? Let me find it here real quick. I want to put a little notch in it. There it is. I've been cleaning. I put things away and forget where they're at. Okay, so I'm going to put this right in the middle. I'm going to eyeball it as best I can. It looks pretty good to me. Oh, if I can get it to go through both. Oh, it ain't wanting to. I thought it would, but it isn't wanting to. It's catching. Alright. So I'm going to do it this way. And then we'll layer it on top of here. And hope I get it straight. Looks pretty good. Now I'll move it down just a hair, like that, and then I can trim just a little bit off. And we'll run some ink along that bottom edge again. And let's glue that down. Okay, now let's turn these under. This one needs a little bit more on that side. There. Okay. So we'll glue this one in place. And I'll show you why we didn't score the other one yet, or varnish the other one yet. Here in just a second. These are just going to hold little tags. Okay, so we're going to put, now, I want to position them right. I might have to make the second one a little bit shorter. I'm going to put it about a 1/4 inch from the edge and about a 1/2 inch from the bottom. And this one is going to slip inside, and I might have to trim more off. But I want it to be shorter. See, that's exactly what I was thinking. And I'll show you. I'm going to take, I'm going to start with a 1/2 inch and see what that does. No, I still need a little bit more off. I want there to be an edge, so I'm going to take 1/4. That'll be about right. And it is going to slip inside, and then this piece will go inside as well. Well, not very far inside. Just a little. If I can get it to go, I'm going to have to trim the edge of it up. Okay. I'm going to have to trim the edges. Just snip the corners. And we can glue this down and make sure it's okay side to side. And we don't want to glue it until I punch it, do we? Okay, let me punch this one in the center. This in here like that. Okay. So not quite center. I'm going to take a little hair off of here. It needs to be trimmed up anyway to fit inside that pocket. Okay. So I'm going to glue this down. And I'm going to make this just a wee bit narrower so that it fits better. I am going to turn this under just a little bit more. I'm just going to pinch it with my fingers. And then I'm going to trim it off. Even with this. And then it is going to slide in there like this, giving us our double pocket. Okay, so let's put some glue down here. And some glue down here. And I'm going to put just a little bit along here because I don't want it to go all the way to the bottom. And we're going to slide this up in there. Just like that. Keeping it lined up with the first one. Now we will embellish these. Okay, so now let's set this in here. Get rid of this ink. And I can take these clothespins off. I forgot all about them. And we'll put the top piece of that on too. So let's get some glue on here, on this little pocket. be about a 1/4 inch off of that bottom, and just inside these score lines. And then I want to go down in here and burnish that in this side as well, and across the bottom. Oh, back up that side, I'm pulling it loose. I don't want to press too hard on that. So I'm going to leave that set up. Move this out of the way. And let's attach this while we're here. And I'm going to trim this off just from the second score line, not the 1/2 inch. Well, the first 1/2 inch score, but not that 1/4 inch gusset. Okay, so let's burnish this second fold line because we're only going to glue that one. Okay, and I'm going to turn it around where I can see what I'm doing. It's too far away from me. Let's put some glue on this. And then I'm going to have to get to cutting some more papers. We're making some headway though. This goes together pretty quick. Okay, so let's get her lined up here. Just about a 1/4 inch inside that edge, just like that. And to the right a little bit. Just a little. I need to move it over just a little bit. I want to make sure it's right corner to corner. Okay, that looks better. Bring this back just a hair. Now, let's burnish this down. Okay, and that's going to be our pocket. Looks like it's a little wonky right here. I think it'll be okay though. It's pretty. I like those colors. Okay, let's stop here for the time being so I can cut some more papers. Ooh, that envelope's holding it up. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's making a pooch. I may have to bring this around to the outside after all because of that envelope. Yep, that's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to take my magnets off and move them around. But that's okay. We'll get there. Alright, I'll be back shortly. Alright guys, I'm back at it, and I have had to make changes. I know I do that frequently, but you know, I have corrected your cut list so it will reflect the changes that I've made. But the big issue was, as I showed you a while ago, when this closes, this was going to hit this, and it wasn't going to close nicely. At least not nice enough to suit me. I keep getting my sleeve caught on that ruler. Let me move it. So what I did was, I took my T-square, and I went in here and I cut this down. I know, but it's one of those things I had to do. So I am going to take a magnet and put it up under here. So that I'll have a magnet closure. Then, because I lost my black edge here, I cut a 1.5 inch strip, the width of the little folder, I think, yes. And I punched it, and I'm going to slide it down in here and glue it in place. That way it will cover the magnet. And we'll still have that edge. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do first. There's more times than not, there's a way to fix something like this, but you know, I really wasn't thinking that far ahead. And then when I went to close it, I thought, oh no, this is just not going to work. It didn't make me happy at all. Those kind of things just really get to me and drive me crazy, and so it's got to be right. Let me get this down in here far enough. My glue's catching already. This glue grabs quick. And I just want a tiny edge in here. And that will cover the magnet on the inside. And let me get one of my bone folders here. I just want to press down on it. Make sure it's sealed under there good. Now the next thing I want to do is add this piece here, and it is going to go right up, just barely inside the edge of the folder, like that. And then we can put the flap down. So I have already inked it. It just made me very unhappy when I tried to close it and I saw what was happening. I should have thought of that, you know. As many albums as I've made, that was kind of ridiculous of me not to pick up on that, but I'm human just like anybody else. And I goof up. But the plus side to this is you get to see what I did wrong, and you get to see how I'm going to fix it. That way, if it ever happens to you, you'll say, ha-ha, I remembered when Bobby did this. So I'm going to slide that in the edge there, and then bring it right back towards my end. So I just want a little bit of a border down from the top of here. Here we go. I'm going to like this better, I think, anyway. So those magnets are covered. Make sure this seals good, because that's where the magnet is. Now we can put this back down, and it'll slide right inside that first, like this, and then we can put our other magnet in place. So, I'm glad I tried the closure when I did, because if I'd have let it sit too long, it would have made a mess getting it off of there. So, here we go. So we just want this part up under there. And I want to line it up with the edges and slide it right down in there. Oops, it's not in place. press it down. Now, let me move this real quick so I can close it and make sure before it sets up that I like it. Yes, that will close just fine. Okay, so get my top magnet. I don't know if that was a plus or a negative, so what did I do with my magnets? I have magnets somewhere. All else fails, get another pack. Why is that sticking? Oh, because it's got a magnet in it. Duh. Okay, let me open these magnets here. Scissors. I thought, oh, I didn't have a package. Here they are. I thought I had some openings. Okay. I don't know if I need a positive or a negative. Let me see. Yep, that's what I need. So I'm just going to close this down. Oh, no, it's not, because it's upside down. I need a positive. So the blue side will be up. There we go. Get that little paper. Oops. Paper off. And press it down. And there's my magnet in place. So let me get a piece of score tape. And I will cover that in the inside after a bit with some smaller pieces once I get them. So I am going to use the wood grain on my spines. So let's put those down. And I've been doing some inking so we could get this put together without taking too much tutorial time. Okay, and I have this one. I knew I had another one somewhere. Yeah, I inked it. Okay. Center of the spine. Now I cut two pieces of the white sheet that has the flower card on it. This one. Oops. This one, I just cut it this way. I first tried it going up and down and I didn't like it. So, I cut it the other way and I like it better. So I'm going to put this inside the pocket all the way over to the edge, as close to the score as I can. Maybe just a little bit at the top. And the same thing on the opposite side. And this is just I'll have to measure it. I'm not sure if I did a 1/2 inch or 3/4. And then this one is going to go in the center. And just leave a little tiny black margin. Yeah, okay. So let's glue. Get some adhesive on this one. Slide this down here, and I just cut these 6 inches deep since they're going inside the pocket. I didn't see any sense in using a bunch of paper that wasn't even going to show. There we go. Make sure they're all down all the way inside that pocket. Now for this 3-inch flap, I cut this off the front of the collection kit, and I'm going to put a piece of white down under it just so that it doesn't melt into that black. This is just a scrap of white. And it doesn't have to go all the way to the bottom. Just like that. Oh, that's not the same at the top. Hold on. Did I cut it crooked? Let's see if this works better. That looks better. We'll just turn it around. It still didn't look straight, does it? Now it does. Okay. I'm not happy. It's too much over there. There. Take me a while, but I'll get it. Alright, and then what I do with it, oh, I put it over here and melded right into that. Then I'm going to put this on top of that. And I'll have a little tuck spot down here at the bottom. Dry wipe. Now there's going to be a little pocket down here at the bottom. I got to score it. I scored them and I've got to burnish it. And I got to trim the corners. Clip the top. Don't go all the way to your fold now because you don't want to leave a hole. I'm not going to notch these because they're so little. Okay, and I'm going to glue that down at the bottom. to sit right here at the bottom. And I haven't inked this little thing. Let me ink it. And that is going to go on here. And then this one, and I do have all these on your list. This is going to sit right here on top of it. Let me ink this. I haven't inked these little ones. Which way does it go? Like that. Okay, so let's glue that on there. Just the top portion. You just want to glue it to this. Right here. A little border. And trim the top part. Let's make sure this is going to slide down in there. Yep, it's going to go just like that. So we're just going to glue these two tabs. And then this is longer, so that's the reason for it. So it slides down in there and it hides the edges. And that one sits right on top of there. And then we have one more. We're going to do the same thing. Going to burnish that. And I'm going to ink this one. Had everything inked with these little pieces. And we'll glue that on here. Again, just the top portion. Who wants to fight me? Okay. And just a little crooked there. There we go. Make sure it's going to slide. Yep. Good fit. Oops. Trim these. Okay, and we're going to slide that one in there. Alright, that's a triple pocket. Okay, now I am going to use this one. I'm not going to use the second one. And I'm going to put it sideways like this. I just decided 2 was too much. You can tell where I pulled it off of the previous piece. I'm going to trim off some of this paper I don't need. But I was able to save it, so I'm going to glue it back down. It looks pretty straight to me. I just thought it looked good to bring the wood grain from here to here to here, and maybe a little something over here, we'll see. It kind of ties all that together. Okay, so now when you close it, here's what you get. See, it just barely misses. That is good. And then when you open it out on your coffee table, it will lay flat, which is exactly what I want. So, I've got to cut pieces for in here, the outside covers, and then we'll be ready for embellishments. So we're moving right along. Alright, I will be back shortly. Alright, I want to explain to you what I have done off camera so far. I didn't film any of this because it's easy enough to explain to you. I just cut 2 small photo mats for this front section. I just felt like it was too plain just by itself. And this word home was on one of the cut-aparts, and I just cut it out and used that We Are Memory Keepers stub punch. Then I did cut a piece of paper for the inside here and here, and I just put some of the smaller cut-aparts in here. I haven't matted any of them, but they certainly could be. But they're pretty on the back on their own. Just for time's sake, I put them in here. And a little magnet closure. Then on the center section, I just have this doily laying in here. I don't know if I'm going to glue it down or not. I thought it kind of looked pretty and kind of broke up the monotony of the papers, but it looks pretty without it too. So just a matter of whatever you want to do. Then I matted 2 of the large photo mats on white. That's all I have in there, but you can see there's plenty of room for more. And then one of the pages has, let me see if I've got a piece of it left here and I'll show you. It has little tags on the back of it. Here's a piece, I think. Yeah. I've pretty much cut it all up, but you can see there's the bottom of some of the tags. That's all I have left. It's on the back of this stripe paper, this one here. And I cut out 2 of them here and 2 for here, and I haven't matted these yet. And this will be the final part of the tutorial. When you see me next, it will be doing the walkthrough. I have some dies in my stash that I cut out some leaves and a flower, and I put a little, what do they call them things? Enamel dots in it. And then I just made a little tiny tag for this one, and I put a eyelet in it. And it's plain on the back. And that just goes in here. And then on this side, we just have the 3 pockets. And these 2 I will mat. Probably on a teal or something so that they stand out. I don't want to put them on black because of the black background. But those 2 will go in there, and then I have 2 tags that I made using the, it's Stampin' Up's Fancy Tag Topper Punch, I think they call it. And I actually could have made them wider, and I may revamp that and make them a little bit wider. But then I added another die that I cut out here with a little photo mat down here. It has to be very simple here because the magnets are under here. And on this side, I thought this would be really cute. If you have a photo of the front of the house and the back of the house, or maybe the front and the inside of the living room or the kitchen, something that would be really pretty. But you can see it still closes just fine and it holds together. Now on the front, this is from the sticker sheet. And then I have a Graphic 45 lock and a key, some more of those squiggly things from a die, and I have a doily back here, and I just tied the key on with a ribbon. And then I have this window die in my stash, and it actually opens and has little curtains, and I cut one of the stickers out that says welcome home and put that in there. So I hope that doesn't get caught on anything. I think it'll be okay. And then I cut out from the sticker sheet, a house is made of wood and stone, but only love can make a home. Isn't that pretty? So I thought that turned out really pretty, and I just put the wood grain on the spines, and on the back I put the sheet that has this little wagon on it that says Fresh Cut Flowers, and it was a little bit short in height, so I took one of the stickers, and it was actually a wide sticker, and I cut it down the center so I could have a small piece at the top and the bottom and make that work. So that is my album. I will be doing a little bit more embellishing to it, and then I will be back with a final walkthrough. Alright, thanks for watching. I hope you will try to make one of these. You'll really like it. It's a super easy to make, and when you do, share your pictures with me. I love to see what everybody creates. Thanks guys, and I will see you back with the final walkthrough.